Alrighty everyone, happy Thursday everybody. I hope you're all having an amazing week so far and getting ready for the weekend. There's a lot of things going on between John, George, and Dave working together as a trio and exactly what's coming next for Star Wars, but we also have a lot of things happening with Jon Favreau himself that he himself has been opening up to the fans more, unveiling more truths behind the scenes about what happened with Mandalorian Season 3, his views on the backlash among fans against Season 3, and everything related to the quote-unquote bait and switch between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, a lot of fans are led to believe that there was this bait and switch between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin in Mando Season 3, and I pointed this out before in the past, that I felt like there was a shift in focus to focusing more so on Bo-Katan rather than Din Djarin. And a lot of fans would either agree or disagree with me on that, and that's perfectly fine and okay and all. It's just how I felt about things when it came to this particular season. Again, I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but I really do feel that there was some kind of shift in the focus suddenly, like it was an abrupt thing that just happened out of nowhere. And when you look at the show itself, we know that Jon Favreau admitted to a lot of things that he did not like doing, or was pressured and or forced to do with the script, and we're going to be tapping into exactly what he feels about the fans calling this as a quote-unquote bait and switch and what he had to say about this, and it's pretty unveiling about what he has to say. So let's get right into it. Now, with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy recently working heavily on both the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, Jon Favreau has been working heavily on Mando Season 4. Now, Favreau recently got a chance to answer questions related to the Mandalorian Season 3 Backlash by stating the following. I see many fans have been upset with what was done in the third season here, when the show actually was holding a bigger focus on Bo-Katan rather than Din Djarin, and calling it this bait and switch, if you will. Though myself and Dave did want to focus on Bo-Katan quite a bit in this season, it wasn't to the extent that we were pushed and or forced to do from those above, like Kathy and the others at Lucasfilm Creatives at the time. Now, we didn't really agree with overdoing it with focusing on Bo-Katan midway through the season. At most, yes, we did want to focus on her getting the limelight in one of the later episodes. One. But creative struggles and roadblocks kind of pushed us to focus on Bo-Katan more in many episodes instead, but that just wasn't our call. All I can say is that we never want to mislead fans. Let me say one thing here, that The Mandalorian is Din and Grogu's story, simply put, and it's always gonna be that, and it always will be, and I didn't really agree from casting him to the wayside as Kathy had instructed midway through the show. So let me just stop right here for 1 second, is that, look, I know a lot of fans were upset about this bait and switch related to, of course, Bo-Katan and Din Djarin getting switched around, and how we did get a similar scenario, by the way, in the Kenobi series. You know, it seems like it's a constant thing, related to either marketing or story-wise. The same exact thing happened with Disney with The Force Awakens. It was a marketing bait and switch, where everyone was led to believe that Finn was going to be the Jedi, right? All the posters in Times Square, all the banners, all the major advertising pieces really set Finn up to be the Jedi. And it turned out to be Rey that was the main focus as the Jedi. And this is what led John Boyega to really just hating what Disney did with his character. And is exactly why he does not want to return to Star Wars, or has not wanted to return for a while. And surprisingly, now he's reportedly signing up for that Rey movie. So he's kind of going against his own words. You know, kind of makes you wonder, do these actors really tell the truth, or do they just sell themselves out? Who knows, right? So, moving on from all of this is that Jon Favreau putting it out there that yes, there were plans by themselves, between himself and Dave, to eventually focus on Bo-Katan, but it wasn't quite to the extent that they were forced to by Kathleen Kennedy. And we're going to be tapping into the origins of this and why Kathleen Kennedy really pushed this upon themselves. So, as you all know, there was a project that was going to focus fully on Bo-Katan. And as it turns out, that particular project got cancelled. And they shoved those story elements into Mando Season 3. Jon Favreau actually touches base on this, so let's cover this right now. He states, "We actually had ideas for a Bo-Katan focused series, or a mini-series at that would serve as an in-betweener between Season 3 and Season 4. But we actually ran into some brick walls with that. We actually had ideas for that, and that fell apart earlier on, so I guess that's why Kathy pressured us to focus on her plenty in this season to make up for that cancelled show that we pulled the plug on before we wrapped Mando Season 3. But we are promising fans that with Season 4, it is going to have this reset strategy to the story, where we want to focus on Din and Grogu's story strictly with some very surprising appearances and cameos. I will go as far to say that. We feel that Bo-Katan's story was well told enough in Season 3, so we are taking a break from all of that. Right now, our focus is how do we actually adapt Legends into live-action form in the most accurate way possible for the fans. So again, guys, Favreau is really putting it out there that Kathleen Kennedy did have a large hand in really forcing Bo-Katan to have this big focus in Mando Season 3. And look, maybe some of you guys out there like that, and that's fine. So a lot of fans out there were very unhappy about that, to each his own. Everyone's going to have different opinions on this. But, I will say and I will admit, I did notice the shift. I didn't have to look online or through social media to find out what other people were thinking. I genuinely and naturally felt, as I was watching the series, that there was a shift, that there was something going on that really seemed a little bit off. And even Favreau admits to this, that, yeah, in the beginning it was meant to be done in a more minor way, but Kathleen Kennedy really instructed them to kind of just shift focus on that and take the elements from the Bo-Katan series that was cancelled and shove it into Mando Season 3. And that may very well explain why this show felt so condensed and so, I guess you could say, just short for time, right? It feels like it needed to be expanded, and we all know that Jon admitted that this show originally was meant to be 10 to 12 whole episodes long before it was really cut down drastically to a pure 8 episodes. And that just was way too short because some of them were either shifting away from Din Djarin himself and focusing on Dr. Pershing and stuff around those lines. That whole episode, is basically, the Andorlorian, as I like to call it. It had Andor elements in there. So that whole episode was basically a shift away from Din already right then and there. But overall, guys, I would really like to hear your thoughts on if there is a bait and switch or not, and what your thoughts are on Jon and Dave's overall treatment of that and how they were forced to do something like that by Kathleen Kennedy. And yeah, guys, I would love to hear what you all have to say about that below in the comments. If you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.